in 1969 on Roden Hall in St. Anne, you ran into Bob Marley one day, right? And you guys had a conversation.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me what that conversation was about.
Well, to be honest, after a while, I start to get around, within the parish. So we decided to go in the opposite part of the parish, which is 9 Mile. We're still in St. Anne. And 9 Mile is where Bob came from, So I happened to bump into Bob. Bob was going to his cultivation. And we saw him and, I approached him and I asked him how I could get started in the business and where. And Bob appointed to Studio One. And I went to Studio One and, I saw Mr. Dodd and I did my audition. And Mr. Dodd ended up loving my song. And I've been told when to come back at the studio. So I went there on Sunday. And he told us to come back the Monday, for he did like the song. So I went back the Monday and I did my first recording.
How did you come up with the intro for Door Peep?
Well, that is the inspiration, is what came. That is what came to me, and, I put it out, for Door Peep can be anyone, Door Peep shall not enter this holy land. It's a say, we wise than true man's land. So therefore, sipping from this upful cup of peace, so therefore we got to chant down Babylon. When I speak about Babylon, I'm not talking about policeman. I'm talking about the system. For Babylon could be any man or anyone. It is the system.
All right. So I know you're at Studio One for about 5 years, right? You're at Studio One for about 5 years.
Studio One?
Yeah.
Yeah, a few years, yeah.
Did 2 albums with Coxsone, but it seems like, because I know we struggle with Abyssinians in regards to he didn't know what to do with Abyssinian music, and he seemed the same thing with yours. He didn't, because it was a culture vibe. He seemed like he didn't really know what to do with it. Was that the case at the time?
You mean Studio One?
Yeah, Studio One.
No, Mr. Dad know what to do with music. For Mr. Dad is music, so he always know what to do with music. He can tell you if the artist is gonna be good or if the artist is not gonna be good. That was his work, So when Mr. Dad heard the song, Mr. Dad knew that it's a good song, and it's a song, it have a lot of moral in it, and you could understand what I was singing about, and one have to remember, Mr. Dad was pretty musical, 100% musical. And Mr. Dad was number one within those earlier time, Studio One. But what happened to Mr. Dad? Mr. Dad, in one sense, Mr. Dad is a selfish man. Do Mr. Dad knows the music? Yes, nobody knows the music better than Mr. Dad. But do you gonna be getting paid? No. For in those days, it's all about the music. Not only me alone, but we find that we could sing and we get anxious and we just want to sing. So we wasn't paying attention too much to the business part of the business. Yet Mr. Dad, knowing that he should be doing the right thing. But was Mr. Dad a good man? Yes, Mr. Dad was a good man. So, as I say, was Mr. Dad a good man? Yes. But he was a selfish man, even though he was a good man. But I don't think Mr. Dad did what he's supposed to do for us as artists, even the artists before my time. Nobody wasn't getting anything. But we all love the music, and we realized that this is what we came to do, so we continued to do it, even though we wasn't getting anything from Mr. Dad.
How were you surviving financially during those times?
Well, you have to figure you have to figure out what to do and how to do what to do. You keep moving, and sometimes you need something, but you just don't know who to ask or how to ask for what you need. And sometimes a man can be a musician or singer or playing an instrument, and it don't mean he really financially is good. You know, most time he got nothing, but he always have his instrument and stand up for what he believe in.
Were you living in Kingston at the time, or were you going back to St. Anne's when you were at Studio One?
No, I was living in St. Anne. I always living in St. Anne, going back and forth.
That wasn't rough going back and forth from St. Anne to Kingston?
Yeah, you have to get up early in the morning to hitchhike a truck drive into the city, and you have to go back where the truck they pick their stuff up, and to go back home and hit another, drive from this truck, go back home. It's like a back and forth thing,
All right. I know you worked with Leroy Sibbles at Studio One. Did you learn anything musically from him during those times?
From who? Studio One?
No, Leroy Sibbles, working with him.
Oh, Leroy Sibbles was Studio One artist also. He was a bass player. And, he was a good guy. Heptones was real, Those are the artists I will be listening to before I get started. Heptones, Bob, you names it. All those earlier guys who were there before me. Those are the guys we would be listening to. Those are our singers.
So how was that for you, being able to work with a person that you looked up to and listened to when you got to Studio One?
Well, it's good. We cleaned together. We became, one, working for the same person, Studio One. It was fun. It was happiness, In those times, nobody wasn't even looking and saying, "Oh, I'm not being paid." We wasn't looking at that. So we were so musically, we were just looking in the direction of music.
So hold on, FireEye. You weren't getting paid, period, like consistently?
No. Most of us didn't been paid when dealing with Studio One, and it is a fact.
So how that work? You didn't get to the point where it's like, man, I need some money? Did you guys approach?
No, even when you say that to Mr. Dad, it don't mean anything. Mr. Dad always telling you that the song not selling this, bop, a lot of crap. But as I say, we were musical, and this is what we came to do. So regardless Mr. Dad behavior, we continue.
You leave Studio One. You go back to St. Anne's, right? I know it's a rough period. It had to be a rough period for you that time in your life. Did you think about quitting music when you left Studio One and went back to St. Anne's?
If I think about what?
Did you think about quitting music at that time?
No, I couldn't quit, for music is what I is, so no way I could quit music. And I realized that my works wasn't talent. It was a gift. Some of us came with talent and some of us came with a gift. And I realized what I was doing, it's a gift. So I don't have to continue. So after Mr. Dad, I still maintain my creativity musically.